Dear reader, a podcast based on the comedy and frustration of David Joseph. A true story recorded live at various parks, backyards, and train stations in the greater Vancouver area. David explores the nature of comedy to heal the soul, the ongoing homelessness crisis worldwide, and his day-to-day struggle to understand man's inhumanity, while attempting to become the world's greatest comedian who's never been on stage. Oh, and he talks to his future wife via telepathy. Yes, he's nuts. All of this for the low price of $5 a month, a cup of coffee. If you're too cheap, then listen to the fictionalized version for free at davegervais.substack.com/podcast. Recording number 1. Hi, I'm David. I'm a retired autistic senior. I was forced to retire due to memory issues. Don't worry, it's not the bad kind where you forget your friends and family. It's the good kind where you forget your friends and family. I'm David. I'm a retired autistic senior. I was forced to retire due to memory issues. Don't worry, it's not the bad kind where you forget your friends and family. It's the good kind where you forget your friends and family. It's one day before my disability check arrives. I have $12.60 in cash and $1.01 in my bank account. When I woke up this morning, I knew I was at $1.01 to receive $12.60 in cash from returning my beer and vodka bottles, which bumped me to near my $15 daily budget for today. To the listener, you can tell I'm at the park just by the sounds around me. You also know about my dog shit ordeal yesterday, or last recording, or however you want to picture this. Maybe last chapter if I get lucky. Anyway, plenty of kids around me. Sometimes I pick up foreign language conversations, which is interesting. But anyways, back to the story. Or back to the episode. Back to the recording. I'm reading out a slightly edited version of an original recording. Original recording for sale for a lot of money. Contact me by email. My email address is imthegod@gmail.com. A 59-year-old man living on government disability in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This is a day in my life, specifically the day before I received my disability check, which I normally think of as a welfare check. I am disabled in the eyes of the government. 2 governments, in fact, stamped a label on me. I'm fine with the label and the monthly payments for now, but eventually I will undisable myself. Maybe that's what this podcast will be about, undisablement. I'm sure that concept is offensive to someone. Maybe I can get canceled before I get started. As long as people sign up, I don't give a fuck. Normally, I'm out of money by this point. Well, not always. I generally budget down to the last day or two, but things don't always go as planned or expected. I'm embarrassed to be on disability, but the alternative would have been a slow, painful death, drinking myself to sleep every night while working for a company I don't care about, with no reason to be on this planet. I took my embarrassment I saw it as an opportunity, a challenge, or a starting point. If I was going to be a loser on welfare, maybe I could be like J.K. Rowling and write the next great series. 4 years later, I've written plenty that I'm proud of, but not a single thing anyone else seems interested in, probably including this. It's fine because I don't care. I'm basically mentally retarded, and I'll keep writing day after day, week after week, until my mind, liver, or entire body gives out. By the way, reader, actually no, fuck you, reader. There's two adorable little twin girls behind me, Grace. You'd love the fuck out of them. Also forgot to mention in my header there that for that $5 a month you also get this sort of shitty audio quality. Technically I could go inside the library and record in a recording studio and have it sound perfect, but for $5, fuck you. You want perfection? Then add a zero. If I bump up to $50 a month, then I'll go inside the studio. Otherwise, this is as good as it gets. I'm really a bit of a cunt, but whatever. What will I spend my final $15 on before tomorrow's check? I haven't decided yet. It's early enough to consider my options. Maybe 100 milligrams of THC edibles for $10, or 6 strong beers. 6 strong beer. Beers? 6 strong beers. Or a 6-pack of beer for $11. I normally need $4 or $5 for food, but $2 is more than enough for me. Maybe a bag of chips, some instant noodles, or whatever. For one day, it doesn't matter. With that, I'll find a way to manage through the day. Hopefully I'll be able to write. When I can write, my desire for cannabis and alcohol declines significantly. But when no words are flowing through my head, the day becomes bleak, and I do whatever I can, whether it's weed, booze, meditation, walking, or all three, just to get through. I hope that when I wake up the next day, I have something to say, and I can think clearly to write again. Maybe he might be able to hear the music of the fan dancers. I have no idea what it is, but maybe one day I'll Google it. To anyone, any reader thinking the booze and weed are preventing my creativity, I'd say keep listening / reading. It might be true for you or others, but it doesn't mean it's true for everyone. We're all unique individuals, and if you take the time to look inside yourself, your body, your day, your life, you can see what substances, actions, thoughts, or feelings mess you up and why. And to figure that out, it's your choice, what you put in your body, especially if it's not harming anyone else. If you're alone in the world, it's nobody's business. If they want to make it their business, they should hear the full story, not just judge based on their initial thoughts. Today I'll walk you through a day in my life, though it's highly editorialized. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, I don't hide my thoughts, feelings, or beliefs. I'm writing this like a bunch of chimpanzees out here today, Grace. Got kids crawling over dads, got other kids jumping up into trees, knocking leaves off them. The regular screaming, as you can hear in the background. Cute twins cuddling up to their parents now. Teenage girl talking to some guy on FaceTime. Or maybe past teenage, I can't quite tell. All in all, an exciting event. Perfect day to be reading this out. Hopefully the listener will figure out that if they follow along with the text I provide that looks like a transcript, it's only what I'm reading out, it's not what I'm actually talking about in between paragraphs. If you want that, you actually have to look at the transcript button and follow along that way. You don't have to look at the transcript button, you have to push the fucking transcript button. I might be a little high, Grace. I think if I could find some cheap cigarettes, I wouldn't even need the weed anymore. Alright, a little boy just waved at me while chasing his bigger sister around. Cute as fuck. God damn it. Grace broke my heart again. Well, if life is the Truman Show, they do a whole lot better than the Truman Show did. The Truman Show is probably just a simulation, as in a simulation story. Just like the old Bruce Almighty was. First person that does the simulation gets to write the story. And then later on, well, the writer holds the rights, or I guess whoever holds the rights to the story can sell it to the first person that can create a simulation, or allow the individual to experience truly what it's like to be in the footsteps of another person, but also playing a character like Bruce Almighty. What would you have done compared to the movie? Or maybe it's a true story. Getting a little philosophical. But that would make sense. It's easy to create fantasy story ideas and whatnot. But it'd be fun to just take any old movie and turn that into what feels like absolute reality. I digress. See, it's definitely worth $5 a month. I just asked the voice in my head, Betty. She says she agrees it's worth $5 a month. And don't be a bunch of cheap buggers. I'm writing this as a stream of consciousness. Technically, I'm dictating this into my phone while sitting on a park bench. I'm explaining in case you're wondering why some of my words, pacing, and tone are odd. There are two reasons. One, the autistic thing, and two, I'm dictating and barely editing the final product. 90% of this is the original wording. In fact, the original audio is for sale if anyone is interested. The day begins when I wake up at 4:30 or 5 a.m. to use the bathroom. I almost always wake up at that time, check the clock, and it's a 50-50 chance whether I go back to sleep. When I wake up, I also check in with Betty, who's either an imaginary friend I've created because I'm some sort of sociopathic genius or a telepathic person I communicate with on demand, 24/7. She's a thought voice in my head, not an audible voice. I'll explain throughout this podcast exactly what that means, both the sociopathic genius and the Betty voice. As I wake up, the listener, as you can tell, I record beside a train station and I don't edit it out. And a noisy road. I suspect a fire truck will go by within the next 5 minutes or less. As I wake up, I check my body to see if there's any energy, whether it wants to get out of bed or keep sleeping. For the last 2 years, it's always wanted to keep sleeping or go back to sleep, especially the 5 a.m. call. The worst is hoping to fall back asleep and not being able to, and knowing I'll be dead tired physically and mentally foggy all day. I wake up again around 8:30 or 9 a.m., repeating the same process. Bathroom or no bathroom, check in with Betty, and try and go back to sleep, if possible. I feel no guilt slipping in and sleeping until noon or 1 p.m. I sleep longer if I could, but after 1 p.m. guilt kicks in. I'd sleep longer if I could. I'd sleep forever if I could. Grok, make a note to change that. But after 1 o'clock, guilt kicks in. There's so many little girls with pink jackets and sweaters on. I'm going to start taking it as a sign. Order a shitload of memory cards, Grace, ones that we can give out. I wake up again around 8:30 or 9 a.m., repeating the same process. Bathroom, no process. I did that. Yesterday I drained my bank account from $21 to $1 because I knew my phone bill would be auto-deduct the next day. Fucking trains. For anyone bitches about paying $5 and getting shitty audio quality, feel free to donate a microphone to me that I can use at home on a shitty old fucking laptop or directly to my phone. It's a shitty old phone too, so fucking Starbucks app doesn't even work anymore. So old this phone is. Still works fine though. It doesn't really matter. And a rant. Yesterday, I drained my bank account from $21 to $1 because I knew my phone bill would auto-deduct the next day, leaving me broke for an extra day. My phone wouldn't renew for a day or two, but that's okay. Nobody contacts me anyway. And 9/11 still works regardless of a plan. Emergencies and multi-factor authentication are really the only reasons I need a phone. I'm documenting these mundane details because this is what many homeless or near homeless people do each month, some by choice, some by circumstance. I doubt anyone is living the high life on $1,500 a month. They're likely forced to live with someone they don't want to, just to make ends meet, whether a romantic partner, friend, or relative. Not many live independently on that amount. I manage because I had no life. I get up, shave and shower, try to write, and either succeed or fail. In my mind, if the words sound like crap, it's a failure, but any attempt is a success. Each As recording the family behind me, we'll see what AI can pick up or not. Each day I find a way to go to sleep, hoping one day someone might comment on my silly stories and interact with me, so I have a reason to fall asleep. I'm in Groundhog Day mode. The next day I start all over until I get lucky, smarter, or better. The longer it takes, the more frustrating this existence becomes. It should give me little incentive to write, but I don't. Rock, change that to it should give me no incentive to write, but if I don't, my head will explode. And I mean that with a capital Fucking. I'm in Groundhog Day mode. The next day I start all over until I get lucky, smarter or better. The longer it takes, the more frustrating this existence becomes. It should give me no incentive to write, but if I don't, my head will explode. And I mean that with a capital Fucking. Yesterday I opted for weed, but today I feel like writing, so I select beer. I've never been able to write on edibles unless I'm taking large amounts of Adderall or coffee, which I don't have money for. I could get Adderall from my doctor for free, but I won't, and I won't buy it either. I'll narrate my beer consumption, and you, the reader, can decide if it changes my writing. Right now I'm at 0, having just left the liquor store. It's noisy as hell. Cars going by, trains rumbling. I'd rather smash the beer into someone's windshield, but since I can't, apparently, but I can't, apparently. But since I can't, apparently, I won't. I'm trying to get home, deciding how to spend my last $1.75 in cash, while leaving the $1.01 in my The only thing I can provide the listener is a guarantee to try and not talk over the train. I'll do my best, but no guarantee. God damn, these kids are cute. Say 6, 4, and 2. In case the reader's wondering, I'm not taking pictures of little kids though. Just crack pipes and secret codes on bathroom walls, which you'll hear about in a future episode. Look at that. I already got foreshadowing. Took me a while to figure out what the fuck I was saying, or doing, or thinking, or feeling. Trying to get home, deciding how to spend my last $1.75 in cash, while leaving the $1.01 in my account. I don't think I can find anything for $1 that I can pay with debit. So I feel my time in my mind, my stream of consciousness, my extreme stupidity. Some background information for this journey. When buying beer, I have two choices. Walk 3 blocks to a local store and pay $12, or take a train one stop to the provincial liquor store and pay $11. Since I'm on my last pennies, I obviously went to the liquor store today. I'm recording every Monday boring thing I do, often as I do it. Croc had that too. I'm recording every Monday boring thing I do, as I do it, because Betty, the voice in my head, my muse, my assistant, friend, and maybe one day my wife, helps me get through the day. She's mostly around for the boring parts, getting me ready and out of the house to a library or coffee shop to write. And she disappears while I attempt to create a new type of book or document or whatever I'm calling this, it. I'm broadcasting this in a podcast, but my intention is for it to be read as a book. Grok had a horizontal line after that. Please. Back to Betty. If she's just a figment of my imagination, then I'm a creative genius and I need to do something else with my abilities now, instead of creating imaginary friends. I don't care if you think I'm crazy, or if you stop reading or listening. I live the life of a homeless person by choice, but every day I work my ass off in my own way to get a break, make a break, or be a break. What I should do is go set my phone down by those Asian fan flapping Asian women, old fan flappers. I'm trying to make that racist and I can't. I live in a household of international students. I live in a house full of international students. One more change there, Grok. Change that to I live in a house full of international students. Though obviously, I'm obviously not one. I'm an old white guy. The house along with the two beside it are filled with international students. All three places are owned by the same person, an old guy named John. He's even older than me. Many of the students are young and pretty. I assume John rents to them because he's a pervert. Or a nice guy. I'm not sure which. Either way, I live in a large house with a lot of pretty girls, but I don't talk to them. I tell you, sometimes, reader, fate just works perfectly. Maybe it's destiny. Hate break on Or a Nice Guy was perfectly timed for me. And I apologize for talking over the train, but I got excited for a second because the universe is putting a show on for me. My goal isn't just to be a writer, but a stand-up comedian, or at least a writer of comedy for someone else to perform. I've written so much comedy over the last 2 years that I want to stop. But when I see or think of something silly, it lingers until I write it down, comma, or talk to Betty about it. She thinks everything I do is funny, but I can't trust her opinion. She's either imaginary or... But I can't trust her opinion. She's either imaginary or Betty is real and communicating with me telepathically but lacks logic, and is probably in love with me and forced to laugh at my silliness. How could I trust that? Today, my day so far has been standard. Waking up at 5:30 a.m., 8:30 a.m., and then 10:15 a.m. After 10 a.m., I sometimes listen to Joe Rogan. After 10 a.m., I sometimes listen to a Joe Rogan episode, which I used to meditate for a few minutes for the entire show. Before starting the podcast, I get out of bed, make it, put on clothes, lie back down, and then listen to Joe for inspiration or frustration. Sometimes he drones on about the same topic every show, but if I'm looking for honest, heartfelt content, Joe or his guests normally provide. Change that grok to, but if I'm looking to wake up to honest, heartfelt content, Joe and or his guests normally provide. Today I only meditated for 30 minutes because I had to carry 4 bags of cans across a bridge in the hot sun. If I waited until noon, it'd be worse than 10:30. I hate to sweat. When I first moved into this house, it wasn't the cleanest. Not filthy, but could have been better. Or as John likes to say, it's not a 5-star hotel. Its proximity to the train station with a free transit pass made it convenient. The room was nice and clean, and the room was very clean. Grok changes to the room was very clean. It had a nice stained glass window, and the rent fit my budget, giving me the freedom to live independently without needing support from anyone. Until now. She kept raising the fucking rent. So I have to ask people for $5. The irony of me sharing these boring details is that I don't like hearing about other people's repetitive lives, which makes me a hypocrite and maybe an asshole. I'm polite but not conversational with my housemates. I don't know their names, except for a couple with easy ones, and I don't share or learn about their lives. I avoid the 3 very pretty girls in the house, not because of Betty, but because I'm just not interested, though I could make them laugh with my jokes if I wanted to. It's another foreshadowing, which I did the other day. I'm just saying, reader. I'm starting to rethink stand-up comedy, not because of stage fright, but because I don't want to repeat jokes. The job of a comedian is to repeat the act over and over again for laughs. Grok changes to the job of a comedian is to repeat the
I wasn't even going in. I got myself free.
The job of a comedian is to repeat the act over and over again for more laughs, like a singer performing a song. I'm stuck in the creation process and prefer one and done until I get a stage opportunity. Sorry, body's falling asleep. Until I get a stage opportunity, I'll sit in my backyard watching the weeds grow and the tomato plants dry up. Someone grew onions this year, which I hate, but I left them since they're not mine. Dictating is very different from writing. I drone on until a train disrupts my thoughts. Whereas with writing, I want the entire sentence or story in my head before even starting. However, I've stated this as a stream of consciousness. The story will come out in due time, and as is. If you don't like it so far, too bad. No refunds. When I first arrived at the house, I wrote daily at a Tim Hortons until COVID restrictions became unbearable. Grok changed this to when I first arrived at the house, I wrote daily at a Tim Hortons across a bridge. I wrote daily. Nah, it doesn't matter, never mind, fuck it. I'm too tired to edit on the fly, I'm just gonna read the fucker out. When I first arrived at the house, I wrote daily at a Tim Hortons until COVID restrictions became unbearable and I switched to Starbucks. For nearly a year, my routine was to wake up, excited to finish a story, shower, shave, dress, walk across the bridge to Starbucks, order a grande pike with heavy cream, fucking train, motherfucker. The only good thing about the train is it gives me an opportunity to look up and see if the 2, 4, and 6-year-old girls are still playing. And they are. So I should be thankful for the train. Even though it interrupted me on a flow. Blah, blah, blah. For nearly a year, my routine was to wake up, excited to finish a story, shower, shave, dress, walk across the bridge to Starbucks, order grande pike with heavy cream, scan my card for points and free refills, and write for 1 to 2 hours. I'd take a break, get a refill, and repeat. Sometimes I'd vape nicotine and take nicotine tablets to focus. And if creativity was low, use 10 to 20 milligrams of THC to keep the words flowing. I felt like the words weren't mine, just coming through me. After Starbucks, I'd pick up supper at Walmart, come home, eat, watch Netflix or YouTube, and sleep without needing booze. The daily mile-long walk across the bridge helped. The daily mile-long walk both ways across the bridge helped. Change that one, Grok. Not trying to make it perfect, but you might as well. Create a version for the publisher. Take this or leave it. It's going to cost you a lot more than $5 a month. My mentality around food is to eat once a day, buying only what I need to. My mentality around food is to eat once a day, buying only what I need daily to avoid keeping food in my room. My fridge is empty except for minimal condiments. This forces me to leave my room, ensuring I don't become a recluse. If I bought a month's supply of food, beer, or weed, it'd be cheaper, but I'd never leave. Make that change, Grok. If I bought a month's supply of food, beer, or weed, it'd be... I know that train's gonna piss off someone enough to donate some audio equipment. My mentality around food is to eat once a day, Buying only what I need daily. Buying only what I need daily to avoid keeping. To avoid keeping food in my room. My fridge is empty except for minimal condiments. This forces me to leave my room, ensuring I don't become a recluse. If I bought a month's supply of food, beer, or weed, it would be considerably cheaper, but I'd never leave. This way I'm forced to wake up, do something, and keep trying. If my writing takes off, great. If not, at least I tried. If I say I didn't, then screw you, I did. This way I'm forced to wake up, do something, and keep trying. If my writing takes off, great. If not, at least I tried. If you say I didn't, then screw you, I did. Same with the daily walks across the bridge. At least 2 miles of exercise would keep me healthy enough, hopefully, to last till something I wrote was noticed by someone who can make a difference. End of recording. Dedicated to the 3 Asian girls playing at the park with their parents and grandparent, maybe 2 grandparents, hard to tell. Definitely family at the park. Oh no, I fucked up. Here's the final park narration portion of the podcast. Looks like it was a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, and something in between who was a friend, not a family member. But they all looked fairly similar. And by the way, to the listener or reader, I have a half Asian daughter, so I'm going to take that privilege and use it. Say, if I want to say Asian baby, I'm going to say Asian baby. If I want to say Chinese baby, I'm going to say Chinese baby. But only if I'm 99% sure. And be honest, listener. I would invent an app. It just shows you pictures of Asian kids and you have to guess their race. Well, you don't have to, but just to prove that you're a competent racist. And I'm not a racist at all. I just like to categorize them because apparently I'm autistic or something. So they say. Here's a joke which hasn't appeared yet. Just for the listener. Hi, I'm David. I'm a retired autistic senior. When I got diagnosed with autism, I disagreed. I wrote the doctor a 200-page summary as to why he was wrong and why the DSM-5 is a piece of shit document that should be burned. End recording.